Some more of the old heads in the WNBA who still can't seem to get with it and continue to just spread negativity across the league and also seem to never be happy about it.
Just a few days ago, some WNBA players and so-called experts said shocking things about Caitlin Clark. But karma didn't wait, and honestly, they had it coming. They even called her the biggest trash talker in WNBA history. Wait, are we even talking about the same Caitlin Clark?
Women who are older than you, better than you, on your team, but if they see that you are a young star and you're doing really well, they will do whatever they can do to sabotage your success.
Caitlin Clark didn't say a single word, even when Angel Reese almost hurt her arm, or when Dijanai Carrington poked her in the eye. She stayed calm and quiet the whole time. But now they're trying to call her a big trash talker. That's just silly.
This is the kind of reputation that the WNBA starts to get because there was also a stat that came out a few weeks ago that said Caitlin Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlin Clark.
The whole thing was just crazy, but this time, Clark had enough and stood up for herself. Let's be honest, if she didn't, they would have kept making up stories, calling her names, and trying to stop her every chance they got.
When Caitlin Clark came into this league, that was the free promotion for the entire league. And I'm sorry, the product has something to do with it. Caitlin Clark is the most exciting women's basketball player that we have ever seen. Caitlin Clark has bridged the gap from the hardcore basketball fans who have been watching the WNBA for years.
The trouble started with a shocking article where WNBA players made big claims about Caitlin Clark. They said she was the worst trash talker they had ever seen.
Yet we have a player like Caitlin Clark who comes around, who shoots three-pointers further back than Steph Curry, and she's been doing it for 4 years in college. That is a product. That is a product that she brought to the WNBA that is all of a sudden exciting for many people.
Really? Caitlin Clark? The same player who stays out of all the drama? Anyone who watches her play knows this isn't true at all. It makes no sense, especially since she always stays calm, even when the game gets intense.
I don't understand why people can't just acknowledge that. What does it hurt for you to acknowledge that this woman has changed the game, is one of the most famous athletes in the entire world, has given you free promotion that supposedly is all you needed, right?
Let's talk about how silly this is. Sure, Clark plays to win, but trash talking? That's just not her. She stays focused even when things get crazy, and let's be real, that happens a lot. It's clear she cares about the game, not the talk. But some players still want to twist the story and make her look like the bad guy.
All the news surrounding Caitlin Clark and all of the dirty plays and hard fouls being committed on her, but I feel like it's gotten pretty absurd, and it's honestly downright embarrassing to see how the WNBA and the media coverage of the WNBA is playing.
People can't stop talking about Caitlin Clark. The rough plays and hard fouls against her have gone too far. Honestly, it's shocking to see how the WNBA and the media are dealing with all of this. Want to see how rough things have gotten for Caitlin Clark? Let's go back to June 12th, 2024. It was a big playoff game, and Clark faced a tough moment when Dijanai Carrington, one of the strongest players from the Connecticut Sun, hit her right in the eye.
Slow to make that judgment that every player in the WNBA is jealous of Caitlin Clark. But after seeing what we've been seeing over the past days, weeks, and months, I changed my mind about that. And at this point, I'm not even just embarrassed of the way that the WNBA is acting toward their new superstar who has opened so many doors for so many of these.
This wasn't just a small bump or light touch. It was a hard hit that made Clark dizzy. Most players would have fallen to the ground, but even with blurry vision, she stayed in the game. And this wasn't just any game. It was the biggest moment of a season where she had worked so hard to get her team this far. But after all that effort, she got hit with a cheap shot like that.
Slow to make that judgment that every player in the WNBA is jealous of Caitlin Clark. But after seeing what we've been seeing over the past days, weeks, and months, I changed my mind about that. And at this point, I'm not even just embarrassed of the way that the WNBA is acting toward their new superstar who has opened so many doors for so many of these.
The drama around Caitlin Clark has gotten really strange, and it's time to talk about how out of control things have become. From rough plays and hard fouls to the media twisting the story, Caitlin has stayed focused on what matters, playing basketball. But this isn't just bad luck. It's a clear pattern of unfair treatment. Let's go back to June 12th, 2024. This wasn't just any playoff game. It was a big one. Caitlin found herself in a tough spot when Dijanai Carrington, a strong player from the Connecticut Sun, hit her hard in the eye. This wasn't a small bump. It was a powerful hit that left Caitlin struggling to see straight. Most players would have fallen, but not Caitlin. She stayed in the game, pushing through the pain. But here's the shocking part. The referees didn't even call a foul. It was like nothing happened, even though Caitlin and her fans saw it clearly. You'd think such an obvious foul would be called, but no. Caitlin had to deal with it alone. No help, no fairness, just silence. And yet, she didn't complain or make a big deal about it. She just kept playing, showing amazing strength and focus. But why isn't the league paying attention? Why is she left to handle this all on her own when she deserves better? The more we see, the more it's clear. Caitlin Clark has been treated unfairly, and it's been happening for a long time. Jump to March 2024 during a game against the Las Vegas Aces. Kelsey Plum threw a hard elbow into Caitlin's ribs, a hit that could have taken most players down. But Caitlin? She took a deep breath, shook it off, and got right back to playing. No arguing, no drama, just pure focus. This is what makes Caitlin Clark different. Her calmness. While others might get upset, she stays cool, showing the kind of maturity that even top athletes work hard to have. But why do some people still twist the story? Why does the media keep misjudging her? It almost feels like they just can't accept how great she really is. Look at the silly label they've given her, calling her a trash talker. But that's not Caitlin at all. She plays with energy and passion, not rude words. Anyone who knows her game can see she just loves basketball. It makes no sense to call her the bad guy when she's actually a great role model for anyone who wants to be their best in sports. Let's talk about the March 29th, 2023 NCAA tournament, where Caitlin Clark went up against Angel Reese in a tough game. Reese played rough and almost hurt Caitlin's arm badly. But what did Caitlin do? She shook it off. Even though she was in pain, she never fought back. Reese said it was just part of the game, and Caitlin didn't argue. She stayed quiet, kept playing, and let her skills do the talking. But instead of focusing on what really happened, the media questioned Caitlin's toughness. Like she had done something wrong for not fighting back. It was like watching a twisted version of the truth, where Caitlin was blamed for staying calm. The whole thing was unfair, but Caitlin didn't let it get to her. She just kept playing, showing more maturity than most players ever could. Then came a shocking claim from Alyssa Thomas on September 14th, 2024. She said Caitlin and her whole team were being racist. This wasn't just a game rivalry. It was a big and serious accusation. But there was no proof. No videos, no quotes, nothing. Just a claim that spread fast in the media. But Caitlin? She didn't fight back. No angry posts, no arguments, no long speeches. She just stayed focused on basketball, letting her actions speak louder than words. Why is Caitlin Clark, who has worked so hard to get here, always treated unfairly? Why does she have to deal with false accusations while others get away with things? The worst part is, even with everything against her, Caitlin hasn't let it bring her down. She has stayed calm, proving she is a true professional. But her fans? They are not staying quiet. They flooded social media with support, speaking up against the unfair treatment and standing by their favorite player. The truth is simple. Caitlin Clark is not a trash talker. She's a player who puts all her energy into the game, not drama. She has worked hard, stayed focused, and never given up. What makes her special is how she stays calm even when things get tough. But some people still try to bring her down. Why? Because they feel threatened by her success. Because they can't handle how good she is. No matter the reason, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark is a powerhouse. No matter how much people try to change the story, her game will always speak louder than their words. It's time for the WNBA and the media to see the truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player, she's changing the game, and she's not going anywhere.